So let's do like three since we have I don't know if you noticed this, but we have a ton to go through today in a short amount of time.
Yeah, I went and looked through the agenda last night.
And
I try to get a lot of it out the way.
So thank you. And I went back after you and highlighted things that I wanted to touch on. If it's not highlighted, I think I'm just gonna we read it, we know it, we're gonna follow up on it, and we have action steps around it. All right, so I think we are going to choose 1, 2, and then last one. So the first two and the last one, just for the sake of time.
Okay.
Government.
Government or government?
Government. What is it?
LaQuoya, Une, maiden name Jones, married name Husky.
Okay.
But my government name does not include my maiden name.
Okay. So LaQuoya, Une, Husky. And then who named you? How did they come up with LaQuoya?
So, funny story. When people used to ask me that, they used to say, well, it was just too many LaToyas in the world, and my parents were trying to be creative and just added a Q. But in actuality, my aunt in California, her friend was pregnant too, and they were thinking through names, and like she just came up with the name and like told my mom to name me that, and so she did.
Wow, that's straightforward. Okay.
And Une came from my cousin's grandmother. We have a Lene. We have Renee's, and so they named me Une.
I like the U. It's different. Hardly anyone has a U as an initial. And how does your name give you power?
You know what? I used to when I was a kid, didn't think it was like empowering to have their name. I was kind of like embarrassed, mainly because people could never pronounce it, and so they would shorten it and say Nene. But as I got older, I'm just like, just because they can pronounce my name, it's their problem, not mine. I even had like a teacher who told me that my name was spelled wrong. Yeah, and decided to like call me LaGoya instead of LaQuoya because there wasn't a U following the Q, and so I never answered her when she called me. So it's a lot of like. So I'm proud of my name. I'm proud that it's like unique. No one else has the name. It empowers me because it is unique, and so I always consider myself to be a unique individual.
Yeah, so, I think it's like part of your personality too. Is like you want to stand out and not be a part of the pack.
Right.
As I'm learning more about you, that's one thing that sticks out.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. My government name is Erica Monique Winston.
All right.
I was named after my dad. There is no story. So my dad's name is Eric. My name is Erica. That's it. Monique. My mom liked it. That's it. There is
cute,
no
though. Erica Monique.
That's it. And then my name Erica in Hebrew means honorable ruler. And so I think that I always try to remind myself, I don't like my name, my first name. I don't think it actually fits. It sounds very, very feminine and like soft. And it's spelled with the soft C instead of the K.
Yeah.
So it's like, that doesn't actually, I think, exemplify who I am. That's why most people call me Winston. Because Winston is who I am. And so, yeah, but Eric, I think, does give me power. I remind myself, like, this is what your name means. And, like, it carries honor with it. Like, what do you do every day to show that, you have honor for yourself and honor for others? So that's it. Mine is pretty straight beeline. Usually after most Black people in New Orleans are named after their dads. So there we go. Wins and accomplishments of the week. Read through these. Which one would be like your top headline for like your top accomplishment you think of last week?
It's probably for my team will be this one. They functioned without me. And then the other one would be my new like revelation of how I'm going to use what I planned from like my reflections last week, moving forward to make our team better.
And we are going to talk about that. I have that part highlighted definitely. And I just want to shout out all your math teachers for entering all 3 of their exit tickets. And then it's Saber, right? Saber. Saber for having an exemplar D3, and they shouted him out in the weekly notes. And so we have an exemplar here in our building, like thinking about how we can move forward to help all of our teachers have that exemplar D3, because we know that that D3 does what? Sorry, caught you in the middle.
That D3 leads to the teacher like truly like making plans to like reteach or trying to like correct misunderstandings in the classroom.
Yes, ma'am. And that's that's how we're gonna push our kids to improve and achieve mastery. It's always the goal. All right, so deliverables from previous O3. And so just looking through these, I know that you're monitoring those numbers. Says execute AP weekly note plan. I think that I saw that Justin did send this out, but you said that she just didn't CC me on it. Melon Tree on Whetstone, do you have?
We're good. We're talking through that this Friday.
Okay. Yeah. All right. And then it says LaToya action steps. What was that?
Getting her action steps in.
Okay. And I know I also brushed up on that with her yesterday after our walk, like get it in. And then closing the loop with action steps with APs.
We're supposed to be talking through that during our O3s.
Okay. And then rolled out revised O3 WD and protocol. So that's the hybrid O3. That's coming out this week.
Yeah, I'm talking with them through that in their O3s and through our admin meeting that we're going to do.
Okay, great. So I've hit pretty much all of mine. I think did we review this last time? I think we did, right? So the ADA, remember it was like 96 or 98?
Yeah.
So I think 96 is what it says in ops. So that it's accurate in terms of the target 96, but we receive more money for higher ADAs, right? And I think we want kids here every day and learning. So the idea is we're going to shoot for 98. If we land at 96 or above, that's great because it's meeting our target.
Yeah.
But ultimately, the more kids we have, butts in seats, the more money we get, and it also alleviates that 42K piece that we have. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I was actually going to ask about like that because last year we met our enrollment and we met our ADA and it came with more money. And so I was just like, are we going to have to like still pay the 40 whatever, okay? Or is it going to be decreased by the amount of money that the region is not going to get for us for having, for meeting our ADA?
So if you meet the ADA target, the target or the 96 or the 98?
Our enrollment from the state is the 96.
Right.
And so then the state gives us money because we've met that number. Right. And so I'm wondering what's going to happen to that money. And then
does it offset?
Right.
Okay. I will get with LMH.
Thank you.
Try to get on some of that 42K I see. any way possible. I will follow up with that. All right. All right. And so I did so you can just look at my notes. I tried to clean it up as best as I could. Marissa and Chance are in Whetstone now. So they should have that. Basically, the first time they sign in, they'll just need to click forgot password. And then it'll send it to them. Yeah. I have on our agenda that we are going to be counting Melon Tree's teacher starting next week. Based on you having the O3 and helping her to understand how she implements, how she inputs the data in, and also making sure that she's coaching weekly. And then, so the SLWAG, and so I wanted to look at that actually now. We'll do that. And I am working on something myself. I'm working on, have you heard of the GROW protocol? It's like from BrainFit. All right, well, we're going to do it today. And it's just a different way of coaching. I haven't used it either. And so I'm going to use this a couple times in our debrief and then send it to Tony and Daphne and get feedback on it. Okay. And it's just basically, it's kind of like frame it, see it, name it, do. Got it. So you talk about the goal, like, so you frame it, like, what do you want to see? And then talk about reality, like, okay, what is actually happening? And then what's the opportunity? What can you do to change it, to meet the goal? and then action steps. So it's like see it, name it, do it.
Okay.
With the frame. The frame part is the goal part. All right. So I wanted to look at the SL WAG.
Mm-hmm.
And so can you actually pull it up on yours? Mm-hmm. I think it's fine if that's. Mm-hmm. I've read over it. You actually made it. So so based on your WAG, what does success for your week look like?
I'm just using this document or just for me, myself?
I think you can looking at it in context of this because we're going to try to make sure that this is as strong as it can be because this is driving your week.
Okay. The goal is to get in and observe O3s. And then in my O3 with my APs, make sure that they have the feedback based on that information and they're able to articulate the action steps when they walk out.
Got it. All right. So right now I'm hearing like there's a couple of tasks. You want to observe O3s, so leaders and teachers, right? And then you want to have O3s based on that and give them feedback and for them to be able to say, what am I going to do next time that's going to improve teacher and student, right? Achievement. It sounds like, so the goal that you have right now, if you could like characterize that, like, so what's the outcome of that? So if you do both of those things, what is that?
Growth for AP.
Okay. So tell me what your goal is. It's one goal here that we're talking about. You're talking about the steps. So 100% of your APs do what?
I don't want to do this lingo.
Nope. Do Koya lingo.
Correct it if it's wrong. 100% of my APs grow.
It's your vision. It can't be wrong.
100% of my APs grow. As a leader, as an instructional leader, through weekly touch points and action steps from me.
Okay, I have by implementing weekly action steps from O3s and coaching because you're doing the learning walks, O3s and learning walks. Beautiful. So now that we know where you're going, right? This is where we want to go. This right here. And so what is happening now? I'm just going to highlight it so that we keep, that's our North Star. So talk about what's happening now. So is this happening now? And talk to me about like, what have you done so far?
Yeah, so I have weekly O3s. I have weekly learning walks. They have action steps from their O3s. What they don't have would be the action steps based on their coaching. That's what I'm not doing. I'm not in O3s.
Anything else that differs from what you want your vision to be or what you want to be happening?
I want to give them growth opportunities on the school leader framework for KIP.
Tell me more about that.
So if like on this rubric to be a school leader, one of the things is like hire and retain. So I want to be able to give them like opportunities to actually like hire and retain the best talent for their teams. So for example, I gave Mr. White the opportunity to review resumes for our vacancies. and guided him through like the interview process and allowed him to lead the charge. And at the end of the day, like when we determined who would be our new reading and writing teacher for the school, I shot it to him to say, make the decision. And he did. And so he kind of led the process for that. And so when I think about like growth or stretch opportunities, I'm thinking about those opportunities where they can do some of the things that I'm doing as a leader that kind of like adds to their tool.
And is that part of their 70-20-10 plan?
No, that's not a part of the 70-20-10 plan because the 70-20-10 plan is geared towards a different like outcome for them this year. But I do know like when we review that again, like we can look at the rubric and say, yes, have had opportunities, whatever the little scores are.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So currently the reality, what I'm hearing is that there's weekly O3s, weekly learning walks that are happening, and there's action steps from the learning walks, but there's not action steps from the weekly O3s.
Right.
And per your goal, you want them implementing weekly action steps from O3s and learning walks.
Right.
Do you think that the growth opportunity in terms of hiring and retaining, do you think that that's aligned to this goal that we're looking at right now?
No. Okay. That's just something in addition to it.
Got it. And so what could you do to change the situation to meet this goal up here?
Get into O3s and get them action steps. Based on like what I'm seeing in their O3s. So this is well, I'm not gonna go off script. I'll just wait.
Nope. Tell me what you want. You can always put it in the parking lot.
So during my programming last week, I developed a plan. So I looked at Justin's O3 and Toya's O3 and developed like a see it, name it, do it process for each of them based on their video.
You're going to put, this is your script for when you meet with them in your O3.
Right. So this is like going to be a part of my O3 with them tomorrow based on like their video. So I have one for him. I have one for Latoya.
And that's why I think earlier you were saying like you couldn't get into, because you have to get into the O3.
Right.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yep. And so I hear that getting into O3s, and I think we're probably starting to get more into the way forward, which is the action steps piece. But I think I just want to make sure that, what do you mean by getting into O3s and giving them action steps? So like, what do you have to
do? So I have to make sure that like it's calendared. That's one. And then I have to follow my calendar too. And I want to make sure that like I'm targeting different O3s. So for example, with Latoya, I would want to see her in more than just Lucretia Stewart's classroom because she's probably like one of the higher teachers.
Got it.
I want to see her, how she's growing Samantha Jackson. Then I want to start tracking like their action steps. So seeing, is this teacher growing as a result of their coaching?
Okay. Yeah. And so let's just go ahead and move into the way forward. And so the opportunity here. So what's the action step? Like, what are you going to do to solve that they're not receiving action steps based on their O3s?
I'm going to observe teacher AP O3s weekly.
How many?
I have to see at least one for each.
Okay. And then what?
So that's okay. And then analyze the O3 to determine the highest leverage action step for my AP.
Then
for me personally,
well, right now, in order for us to close the gap, for them to receive a weekly action step in their O3, you're going to observe it, right? You're going to analyze the O3, and then what are you going to do?
I'm going to plan for the O3.
So you're going to do your intellectual prep for the O3.
And then you have the O3.
And are they already calendared?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then I think here, one thing you mentioned up here, there's two things up here that you mentioned that I want to make sure get in here. So this is like the process that you're going to take.
Mm-hmm.
How does making sure that it's calendared and holding a safe space, the space sacred, and then tracking, where is that in here?
That's not in there.
Okay. You tell me where it goes within this.
It's a part of the intellectual prep. So like I guess like
which part is getting into the O3s or
you talking about like the tracking?
Got it.
Develop a tracker for action steps for both APs to track their growth.
What resources do you already have to help you with that?
Whetstone.
So are you going to develop a tracker or are you going to use a resource?
I can use a resource. I just never put like AP action steps in Whetstone, but we can do that.
Yeah, you can try it and see. Yeah. All right. So you're going to track O3 action steps in Whetstone. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then the other piece about the calendaring and holding the sacred space is part of the opportunity here. So where does that go here in your action steps?
I already have them calendared. So
okay. What do you have calendared?
My O3s with them. Oh, I don't have. Oh no, I have calendared their O3s too. Okay. So like for this week, I have already like calendared like when I'm observing their O3s.
So I calendar just need to observations
of O3s.
We're gonna be real clear because we're talking about different movies. AP/teacher O3.
Yes.
And so here are your action steps. Go ahead and review them.
Okay, so calendar observations of AP teachers O3s. Observe at least one AP teacher O3 weekly. Analyze O3s to determine highest leverage action steps for the AP. So, intellectually prep for O3s and track O3 action steps and Whetstones for APs and have O3 with AP. And then, is there anything missing that you need in order to reach your goal on that list? Anything missing you'd like to add? Follow up on here's my thing. Do I follow up on their next O3 or do I follow up with the next week O3 with the same teacher? Or does it matter?
What do you think? Thinking about what you said you wanted to do in your opportunity search.
Follow up on O3 to ensure action step is implemented.
And answer your own question. Do you think it should be the same teacher? Should it be a different teacher?
I think if it's an action step, it should be something that they can do with any teacher.
So it should be, word we use is transferable. Yes, ma'am. I think that sometimes you can choose the same one if it is like having difficult conversations or a teacher who's struggling that you want to give more targeted support. But in terms of what your goal is for them to have a transferable action step that they can then implement into all of their O3s, right now it doesn't seem like it matters. What are some of the barriers that could arise in hindering you from implementing your action steps?
The only barrier is now is around, which is not a barrier for me. It can be a barrier. Nope, there's no barrier. It's me making sure that people are doing what they need to do.
So there isn't a barrier, but there is a barrier. Tell me more about that.
Sometimes I just get it done as opposed to just delegating.
Get what done?
So like for this morning, like I was supposed to see Latoya and Lucretia's O3. And Miss Mays hadn't arrived because she has a late arrival and we had students supposed to be in ISS. So I just went on and I took care of it and saying, let's pull these kids, let's get their work. You guys are here. I sent out the schedule where the like traveling ISS is going to be because we don't have any space. and then pass them off to her, which took my time from seeing Miss Murphy.
Okay. And so I'm hearing two barriers, which is calendar fidelity. How do I, if I'm highlighting an O3 to go and see, how do I stick with that? I also hear,
sorry, do you know anything about Shadarian Wilson from the high school coming over here to get evaluated? The high school said to come here. The person that's going to evaluate him for special education services is here.
What's Shadarius?
He said he goes to Kipple Cliff. Kipple Cliff told her to come here. The person that's going to evaluate him is going to be here. She's not in there. The lady, I don't even know her name. I said maybe it was her, but she's not in your office. Did you know anything about it?
No, I don't know anything about that. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
and then the other piece of what we've been talking about is like delegation issues around that. And so I do want to push into one of those pieces, which is you said, oh, I guess I got to work on the delegation. How could you have managed that situation such that you weren't like taking up all of the work for that? You think you could have done something differently?
Considering like where the resources are, it would have been easy to pass it off to Mr. Hay if he was here. He's not here.
Yeah.
The other leaders that we have would be Justin and Latoya, who I have prioritized like them being in classrooms. I don't know if anybody else could have taken on that.
And I think that in this case, maybe not, right? But I do hear you starting to use that framework that before you just take it on without even thinking like, oh, what are the resources? Who owns this, right? And how can I help to coach them up to meet those expectations?
Yeah.
In this case, I don't think there was one. And I think you did what you needed to do to help hold your AP's space sacred for instructional coaching. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
What could have been, though, and something you could have done such that you could have still gotten to see her O3? Because you may want to revise action steps based on this situation so that we can make sure you're able to see the O3s. So you couldn't physically be there. Is there another way that you could have still been able to see the O3?
Unless I just take the kids with me. And I don't want to take the kids with me because there was nobody to watch them and I don't want to leave them by themselves.
So that is not an option.
Yeah.
Any other option you think? There have been times you've been here before that you wanted to see them in action, right? Whether it be an instructional coaching, PD. What did you do in those times when you weren't able to physically be there?
Oh, I could have had her recorded. Yeah.
And so how could you revise your action steps such that, because right now the goal, part of your goal is you getting into O3s here in the opportunity. What do you think? Do you need to get in there all the time?
Or have them videoed?
Yeah. Okay. And so here, how would you change your action steps to reflect that?
Right here, communicate. Communicate to APs that if I'm not available during O3 to record the O3 and send it to me.
Got it. Got it. And then here you can say I observe at least one APO3 weekly. You could put in person / video, right?
Yeah.
Being really clear that ultimately it's not technically, and it's great to be there, I think, as well, because you can real-time coach in the moment. But right now, your goal isn't necessarily on real-time coaching. The goal is being able to get the O3. These action steps will change, though, if your goal is then to give real-time coaching feedback in the moment.
Got it.
Yeah. All right. And so here we've just found a way to eliminate the barrier of not being able to get into O3s. And we're going to eliminate that barrier by what? Check understanding.
Yeah, making sure that they know they should be recording their O3s if I'm not able to attend.
And I think being able to communicate the O3, the key O3 for that week to them as well. So I'll put that here, communicate to APs to record key O3. So that way They're not recording every single, they're not expecting you to be at every single O3, and they know it's the key one that you've identified. Does that make sense?
Yep.
What can I do to support you?
Nothing.
There's
all
something. What can I do? So how can I help you meet your goal? I might not be able to,
You can hold me accountable for it.
How?
Like simple reminders of like, hey, I don't have entries for your APs in Whetstone.
Okay. We can also do a Whetstone audit together of the action steps you're giving. So I have for me, we can do a quick audit. We can look at one. We're also just going to be auditing in Whetstone for teachers as well. So we could do that. And then I could also give you a reminder. I can check in. When are there O3s?
On Wednesdays.
Okay, so Thursday. I'm going to check in there. And I'll add that to my calendar. I want to do a free 2-minute check-in. That was the GROW protocol. Let's just take a minute to think about like what's the pros of that, anything we'd like to change, and the impact that it has when looking at either documents or plans.
Yeah.
And I'll record that in our feedback section of it.
No, first, well, thank you. I think the most important piece of that, outside of like walking away with like my action steps, was just like digging through the barrier, which I would have not done on my own.
Okay.
It's relevant, and it's something that I can do like immediately.
I think it's also transferable too. That protocol is transferable, and I really like. You can use it with practically anything because it's like content agnostic, right? Because in any time of leadership, we always want to make sure we do all this time, we take all this time to plan a vision, and then somehow sometimes we wind up being like, what happened? Like, why didn't we get there?
Right.
And I think the GROW protocol makes it like a quick 4 steps of like, okay, this is what I want to get, right? This is where I am currently and what's going on such that I'm not getting what I want. And then what's the opportunities there? Like, what can I do? And then let's make it concrete and talk about the actual steps we're going to take moving forward. You could also do that with APs as well.
Yeah.
Any feedback or changes, adjusting feedback to the protocol or the process?
I think today's process was like right on. In the future, like if it becomes something like something I haven't seen before, or something that I don't have like context for, then probably seeing it in action, having a video of something to actually see it.
To see what?
To see whatever the skill would be.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And so this time it was based on something that you had already created.
Yeah.
And I think that I don't think I ever want to do a GROW protocol that it's something that is just like a brain, because it's not supposed to be for brainstorming.
Okay.
It's for coaching. That makes sense. And so I can't coach you on something that you have no context for. And so I do want to note that just like in the future, making sure we have done the intellectual prep, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or just a preparation, whether it's the plans, right? So what we wouldn't use this for is like, oh, let's think of a new plan for X, because that's less of coaching and more of like working together and trying to construct. And I could coach you after that, right, to meet that plan. But I don't think we should ever use that. And I can also verify with LMH or Daphne or Tony, like if I'm on the right page with that. But I'm just not sure how helpful that would be. Because if you're setting a vision then, right, then it's really hard to say.
So the goal of this is not to like actually see it, name it, do it. It's actually to see it, not see it, but like be able to reflect, name, and do.
Yes, and I think we did do see it, name it, do it, because in the see it, it was the AP, but I think the SOA, but I think we were also talking about like functioning, like just executive functioning and trying to get to everything.
Yeah.
I think that was the see it gap, right? It's like, oh, I want to see this happening. We're seeing the gap of all three of these things is happening. That fourth thing, getting an action step from an O3 is not happening. So it is see it, name it, do it.
Yeah. It's not just, I'm not seeing the exemplar at this time. I'm actually like seeing the gap for myself and then trying to think through what the exemplar would be.
Yes. So I think you're right in pointing out in see it, there's two pieces, right?
Yeah.
See the exemplar and see the gap. I think per the grow protocol of how I understand it, and that's why I'm getting feedback on it, I think it's the see it part is part of the reality, the R in grow, which is what isn't happening right now? Like, why is this not meeting? I think you're right. I think it's just one part of the see it. Okay. The gap. Thanks for fleshing that out. I didn't even realize, I didn't like put those two things together, that it's not the full see it.
Yeah. And that's okay.
And I mean, we have license to change this. So we want to start seeing an exemplar. And I think sometimes it is important to see an exemplar. And so we can also add that in.
Especially for me as a new leader too.
Yeah.
Like sometimes, depending on like whatever it is.
So I'm going to put, if possible, insert exemplar, right? During, and I think that would actually come in the, I'm going to think about where during, part of the grow protocol. And I'm going to put that I will think about, because I don't know if it goes in the R part, reality, because the reality is seeing how what you want necessarily isn't happening right now and why that is. I think it could possibly be in the opportunity piece of it. So it's like, oh, I want to implement a know your numbers campaign, right? Where I want all students to know their important key data, math data, reading data, all that stuff. I actually have an exemplar of that today, right? So I think that is like a concrete example, I think, moving forward in that protocol. But I don't know if it would come in the R, which is the see it. I think it would come possibly in the opportunity or the next steps, the way forward. I will figure it out though. And I will bring it to you and you will give me feedback. Because I want to grow too. Using the grow protocol. And by the way, I don't think it has to be set in stone. I think we should figure out where it goes and we could always change it. Just whatever makes sense for us. All right. So now that we've done that, we're going to fly through some of these things because I've read it, you've read it. And yeah, so I heard back from Yasmin, from Laura Farber sent me what she sent Yasmin. But then Yasmin emailed me back a day or two ago and said, hey, KIPP Texas is actually working on this right now. And so what I don't want to do is spend time on this document if we're getting the APM here. So that was part of my action step. Farber sent me what she sent to Yasmin, but then Yasmin followed up with me yesterday and was like, hold on that. Or she didn't actually say, she's like, wait, I don't want to send you anything right now because the KTX-CDI team is working on the APM agenda and protocol.
Got it.
Okay. I did send you what Farber sent you though. So you can look it over to just get like a sense, because that'll give you like, this is the purpose of it, right? Like this is what a potential agenda could look like. Here's why we'd use it. But I don't want to spend our limited time today going through something if it is going to change. But I think that I'm just priming you that, hey, we have to figure out a way to have these APMs coming forward because they are integral to growing our coaches' skills and also seeing the need in teachers' classrooms of how to like increase data. Yeah. All right. So some of this stuff I'm just not going to go through because we have it. The data piece, there's always a lot here. I think the only thing I really want to go through is just some shout outs and then also updating. When is your O3 with Gus? Just making sure that I know.
Thursday.
Okay. We can follow up next week. Alrighty. And then do you have any other open roles? Okay. It's just, well, now it's going to be homes.
And then next semester, Wycliffe. And then I'm unsure about Mr. Hay.
So Holmes, and then who else?
Wycliffe.
Yeah, we have there.
But immediately is with Holmes. I reached out to HR today for like guidance with Mr. Hay.
Okay, to Lori. Did she get back to you yet? What did she say?
She just told me some things to say to try and like make sure that like
communicating the
right
expectations. Okay. Did she say like, and if that doesn't work, then? No. Okay. All right. I'm going to follow because this is more like operations HR. I'm going to follow up with LMH on this in our meeting to try to get some guidance around that as well, because I was looking in the handbook and it's not clear.
No, it's not. And like I think we ask school leaders to do a lot that's not in their capacity, especially when it's dealing with like
FMLA, HR. Yeah. So I'm going to follow up with LMH about what to do. Yeah. And then our O3 is Friday. So I'll have something for you. I'll either call you or email you, because I think that something needs to happen here that's more concrete than what's actually happening currently. Okay. And then what's up with the plan for Holmes? You emailed about that. Holmes is out what, November 1st, right? And so you did follow up about that.
She sent in her resignation. I've already filled out the form. I'm giving Latoya the same stretch opportunity I gave Justin. I sent her maybe 4 resumes. And so tomorrow that'll be one of our touch points.
Great. I think you should. Like, this is also part of what you're working on, which is the delegation part and like building AP skill. And then in terms of, you said your conversation with her, did you have your conversation with her this morning?
About what?
About Wycliffe.
No, I was supposed to have it this morning. She was in the middle of like doing something with her team, and so I just told her we'll follow up tomorrow morning.
Okay. Yeah. So we'll follow up.
Yeah, I really think that she's gonna go ahead and resign. So
she is. You think so? So that'll be science. 5th. It's Okay. So it's 5th and 8th. So
both tested areas.
Right. Then you have contacted to start that process of looking for. Okay. And you're going to delegate that to
the talent team in Latoya.
Boom. All right. Quickly. Whoop whoop to 8th grade. 100%. And then also, I think shout out to you, and I think your team for really giving that push. Like, I saw the email that you sent. I saw Justin and Murphy following up on that in that midweek. I think that midweek email should definitely continue because it really holds people accountable. And we saw a shift. It just flip-flopped, right? So in last week, we had 36% complete. This week, it's 64% complete. And so we now got to push to get that into the 80s. Like, we really got to push that. Like, next week, our goal is to get that at 80%. And then what do you think? And I know we can do this. Do you think you can do that? I feel like as a team, you guys can do this.
Yep. I think it's going to take reminding them in their O3s. They need to send a calendar invite for themselves, like just blocking it off on their calendar. So just be like, you know how I do like 24 hours prep for this? Like, go ahead and send that out. Like,
And I think here we can, so in O3s, AP should be going over that tracker with them and doing the work with them. They should now just be bringing that in.
When I say O3s, I meant like their O3s.
Okay, got it. I thought, gotta get meta. It's the layers. It's the layers, right? It's the layers. Yeah. So going through the student work with them and sorting with them and doing one with them in every O3.
Yeah.
And that actually coincides to the D3, the hybrid O3. Yeah. So that's coming up. So I know that you're going to push that out. Yeah. So I'm hoping that pushing that out and with that midweek reminder will help us to get to that 80%. I think we got this. All right. And so for Whetstone, last week, We had, and last week I didn't count the data from the last time we met because that was skewed because we had so many different teachers and stuff. I'm only really looking at the 14 lead teachers right now because we just had Chance and Marissa come on. And so last week was 36%. 5 out of 14 lead teachers receive action steps or quick feedback. And it's Mitchell, Batumba, Thomas, Fletcher, and S.
Sherry.
Yes. And so what do you see here? Like, these are the teachers that, what's the trend here? These are the teachers that are actually receiving action steps at this time. What do you notice about those 5?
They're all either tier 2 or tier 3 teachers. And they're all new teachers. The majority of time is spent here for one AP. I'm not quite sure why you don't see more of your reading and writing teachers on there because
I know, and that's the thing. I think it is executive functioning. I think it is, we have to get on their calendars. Like, they just have to carve out time to put it in there.
Yeah.
I know I am with him, you are with him.
Right.
We know that the coaching is happening.
Yeah.
We just need him
to input
it. I think it's both of them too, right?
Yeah,
like,
it is.
5 out of 14 is just, that's egregious. We gotta create, and it's part of the baseline systems that should be running anyway. Like, every day on my calendar, because I'm walking so much these days, because that's like one of my areas I wanted to increase in, walking, and usually I want to try to either pull you, Justin, or Toya with me. But even on my calendar, like, at the end of the day, I'm just like, whoo. And there's all these things, and I'm like, those calendar reminders really help. Like 30 minutes, end of day, in front of Judge Judy while it's playing, I'm inputting, right? And so I think it's possibly just some of that, which is like getting them a system where it's like, every day at this time, I'm stopping, I'm putting it in. Same thing that we're asking teachers to do, right? D3 is like inputting the exit ticker. So I think it's just one of those things. And so these, I hear that they're first year teachers and tier 2 and 3 teachers, right? And so the next steps here would be what to help us to increase. I would really love to see this number get into the low 60s, high 70s, like 70, 75%.
I think having just what you said, having the APs block off time where they are doing nothing but like entering Whetstone entries.
So they're going to calendar entering action steps into Whetstone. And I think it's also, they're going, I don't know why that happened. They're going into classrooms a lot. And what I don't want them to think that every single time they go into an action step, it is the action step that they are going to practice and work on during the O3.
Okay.
They can add in others, but I just don't want teachers to feel like
it's just too much.
And also there's a process. In your O3, you're going to go over the previous one, right?
Yeah.
And that is going to determine. So it's all part of this cycle. And I don't want things to be out of the cycle. And so they can record their observations and their feedback. I know that Justin is writing usually. He has like a form. And I've seen Toya's form too. So they all have their own tracking and ways of writing their recording. I think that they need to put the action stone in Whetstone that they are reviewing during the O3.
Okay.
So they're going to calendar entering action steps into Whetstone. And that action step should be reviewed during the O3, right? And I think that way it also just helps with them using the processes that are already in place. So I'm going to write this down for you is to follow up, right? Your next step. Why did I do that? Down here, since we're not using
it's growling. Sorry.
No, I'm sorry. It's 12 o'clock. It's about that time.
I'm over here snacking.
All right. So tell me what your action step is with that piece.
Communicating with APs to calendar their entries for Whetstone.
And then where are you going to, like, part of what I want to make sure is I'm not just like adding things for you to do outside of the systems you already have in place. When are you going to do that?
Oh, tomorrow. That's easy.
Is that during the meeting, leadership team meeting? Is that
no? That's during their
O3s?
O3s
Okay.
when we actually do our. Actually, I can do it during our melody check.
There we
tomorrow.
go. There we go. And you can follow up with that during your intellectual prep when you're prepping for their O3s. All right, I have that. And then here I have just the calendar entry actions in Whetstone, and then reminding you that that action step should be reviewed during, let me be really clear, AP/teacher O3s. Okay. Actually, we're not doing this. APs to calendar. There we go. Entries into Whetstone during the melody check. That's what you're gonna. How are you feeling over there?
A little tired, but I'm okay.
You need to stand up and go through some of this?
Okay.
All right, I'm just doing a time check for us. We are done at 12:30, so we have about 28 minutes. Okay. Some of the stuff we're just gonna fly through now. All right, I was gonna do an audit for each step. We will do this next week.
Okay.
And basically what it is also, I can't do an audit if the steps aren't in there. And so like that's taking away from their development and our development when teachers aren't getting those clear action steps as well. So it's like a waterfall effect. Okay. And so next time we will be doing an audit, and I'll be using we'll use the GROW. We'll look at the action step and then say what's the criteria for success, which we already have, right? We do know the exemplar for that. They got it during their AP development training as well. Okay. And so we'll look at the GROW protocol and do an action step for each, and then you'll also have an action step based on them writing their action steps to get to them in the O3. And that might actually be your action step for them in the O3, depending on what you see. So it's also a way for us to build our skill as well. And then I see that you have here for the next steps. You're going to just tackle that in the melody check. All right. Just going to scroll. I'm going to come back to this. We've already talked about this. Then you have that. You mentioned new plan of action for success training. That was your intellectual prep, the see it, name it, do it for developing them. Yeah. Beautiful. And then this Google form is like, all right. So my goals this week, I always want to make sure that you know what my goals are this week and how they're aligned to your school leader WAG's goals. And then making sure that you're able to tell me what other support you're needing. An example of that, because we haven't really talked about that yet, an example of that is like, oh, Winston, I am now prioritizing getting into their O3s. So like support could be me adding on into my calendar, checking in with you, and also adding into our agenda, doing an audit. That's fine. Doing an audit.
All the goals upstairs.
Does that make sense? Or even it could be, oh, I have this new plan of action. Can you either sit in on one or watch a video? Watch a video of me doing that. Okay. Right? So any of those, I'm just giving you examples because we have never really talked about this space before. And so my goal, threefold, I'm collecting on par 6th grade data, right? Because that's our focus area to inform the upcoming plans. I have 2 things I'm looking for from the campus PD. So that's going to change based on what that is. Like I am another resource in helping you identify trends and patterns across the school based on what they are learning in Friday PD. Yep. And then also on par, because as a region, right, the priority is making sure we're getting to those 3s on par in terms of the student behaviors and actions as well as the teacher actions. This week, I'm looking for all of the student behaviors and academic habits that's listed, as well as teacher exemplar. making sure that is completely filled in, annotations, timestamps, like that's what I'm looking for. And then I record all of my things as well as the achievement specialist. So like regional, we record them in this on par tracker. I'm not going to go over it, but that's where I'm putting information. Transparency breeds trust. That's where my information as well as their information will go.
Got it.
So if you ever want to know like, Erica came today or yesterday, she saw S do it. I wonder what her thoughts were in terms of on par. You can see it there.
Okay.
So I just want to breed that transparency there. All right. The second goal is strengthening AP instructional coaching skills via observation and feedback. I want to take them with me anytime I usually go observing, and I want to push them using the protocol that we talked about with Latoya.
Okay.
So that's what I'm doing there. And then ensuring strong implementation and accountability of enabling systems. And so that's around like the melody checks, and the walks, the learning walks, as well as other enabling systems that we talk about. So earlier I skipped it, but we're going to go back to it, which is around intervention, right?
Yeah.
Based on those results. And so this is kind of this will change as we get clearer and more focused on what those systems are that's going to move sixth grade.
Okay.
All right. Any questions about that? And then below, I'm just telling you my
Schedule.
week, what I'm hitting in on. And then, yeah, if there's any other support you feel like you need this week from me.
That sounds good.
Okay. Just trying to hit everything before we talk about the big rock, which is the intervention piece that comes up. I think I want to end there. Let's see. All right. So I already have the answer to that. They'll be expected to use the hybrid O3 starting 1028.
Yeah.
Okay. And then that's something that you're going to be looking for. And your CFS for that is just the agenda.
Okay.
Have you had time to tweak the agenda? Do you want me to do that?
Yes, please.
Okay. Go ahead and send it to me.
Did I? Wait.
Let's see.
Let me see. No. Yep. No, I didn't.
Okay. I'll take a look at it, and based on the D3 so what I'm looking at is making sure that the language is aligned. It's New Orleans, and also it's driving the regional priority. So I don't want to give them a D3, this part with the data driven, I don't want to give them a D3 that is different than what we're telling them.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's what I will do. I'll tweak the hybrid agenda, changing language to KDFW/KTA and making sure the D3, it should align, but I want to make sure the D3 aligns to KDFW expectations, right? Like looking at the executive tracker, just making sure that that's aligned.
Okay.
And then anything else I find that's just like out of the ordinary.
Okay.
But this is marrying see a name and do it with it. So it's not going to be like, so I think one thing that we'll have to be okay with is that we can't do a full see it, name and do it and a D3, like in the time that we have, in that 30-minute time frame.
Yeah. And
so it's going to be what I like to call it see it, name and do it late.
Okay.
And are you okay with that? I guess it's something you'll have to reflect on.
Yeah.
And so also you can take a look at it as well. I'm going to put it on Google Drive so you can see my changes, and then you can also add changes.
All right. Thank you.
Sure.
You said send it back to you?
I haven't. If you haven't changed it, I haven't. Okay. When do you need it by? Tomorrow, right? Yeah.
So Jalen and Trey, they can borrow these for the day.
Okay.
Great. I will have it to you by end of the day. could possibly be at 11:59 tonight, but you'll have it.
All right.
So that you can go over it. And it'll be on Google Drive, so you can just pull it off of there. Any questions about that?
Mm-mm.
All right. I reread the feedback. I'm going to put it into a zone. The only question I have was how much time they had to prepare. And I'm asking that question specifically because LaToya was prepping during regional professional learning while it was happening. And I was in the math session, Sonite session for twofold. One to give Sonite feedback because she had asked for feedback. And then the other one was to work with Murphy at her table with the rest of the teachers.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, skill building together.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I went over there and I was like, oh, well, let's go ahead and look at the CFS that Sonite had. She was like, oh, I'm still planning the PD. She was not looking at what they were looking at. She was using that time to plan the PD. And she was still planning once she got here as well. And so Justin was printing off some things, right? Like he was just printing. He was completely done. It was alarming.
Yeah, because they had time
during that. Yeah. So I think the question I had was, how much time did they have?
They had time.
Mm-hmm.
They had time. Well, our ability check is extended on Wednesdays. We don't we don't have anything scheduled on Monday. So they've already blocked off time on Monday after school to do their planning together.
Got it.
And it's been since 2 weeks. So they've known for 2 weeks already.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that should not have happened.
All right. So there's several reasons why that could have happened. For instance, if they're not holding that time sacred to plan, doing other things, then they didn't. I think, like I said, Justin had his plan. There was probably no reason why she didn't have, kind of, she was sick as well. But I think we need to just make sure she meets that bar.
Yeah.
And so I think moving forward, what I noticed on your WAG was you're giving them feedback on Thursday, but if they have time to plan blocked off time Monday, do they have other time as well before that Thursday?
They have 2 weeks time period. So they did the PD last Friday. So now they have this week and next week to plan in preparation for next Friday's PD.
Gotcha. Because there's not one this Friday.
Right.
And so I think that what we need to look at your schedule, your WAG, to figure out, they should have that to you a weekend at Friday. They should be sending that to you so you can give them feedback so they can make changes to it based on the data, right? Based on what you're seeing. Because I think you gave them feedback a day or 2 days before, I think. And I think just to help them would be to give them feedback that Friday. Does that make sense? If it's 2 weeks out.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. I'm just
I'm confused.
Why was she working on it on Friday?
She was working on it on Friday because she had not worked on it prior. And I think that there were other things being done or things not being done, like not using her time well and meeting expectations on it. Because you gave them feedback. Did you see did she have the completed?
It was a completed. I gave them feedback on both.
I guess that's what she was doing. She was implementing your feedback. Yeah. Let me be clear. There is no reason why she was doing it during regional professional learning. Yeah. There's no, we're not going to make excuses for her.
Okay.
And do to make sure that they get the feedback earlier, just to take off another barrier that they might see, right? Moving barriers, so that they can absolutely make sure by they should have this completed and done and ready to roll by that Wednesday before. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. That's it. I didn't have any other questions about it other than that. So what's your next step on that?
My next step is communicating the expectation of
which you have.
My action step is making sure that they know to get it to me by a certain date so I can get them feedback when they have time to change it.
Turn in full PD. We are talking about, because she didn't have, she's like, oh, I don't have an interactive handout. I'm like full PD done. We talking about all materials,
right?
PowerPoint, all materials done. turn in all materials for campus PD, right?
Mm-hmm.
By what? You want to do Friday or Monday?
Monday.
By Monday of PD,
Week.
feedback given when?
By Tuesday.
You can say by Wednesday before noon. Or you want to do
Okay.
Tuesday?
They'll give me time. Wednesday before noon.
Great. And that's all materials. Because I think how she got away with this is that she only probably sent you a PowerPoint.
Mm-hmm.
You send everything. If they're reading a document, I want the document. If they, right? Like, I want everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I know that you were able to give them feedback. And so I was wondering how you were able to give her feedback on something that was incomplete.
Yeah, it was just a presentation. I didn't see the handout.
Yeah. Materials. Yep. Great. All right. And so, yeah, we're not doing any of that. Let's go ahead and talk through our last piece on the agenda, which is going over the plan for intervention based on results.
Yeah.
And we have roughly about 13 minutes. So there are going to be some things. I read what you said here.
Mm-hmm.
And so it seems like there's a strong plan for the math and using that. We're both using that time, right, during the block to pull small groups. I feel like that's one of the things. And then here, so that's that. So I think there are 3 things that came in the weekly note that was talked about, which was you've already rolled out the level up, right? Level up to a B goal for teachers. And so, and how are those lift rosters coming along? I know Justin was working with.
Yeah, he's done.
Okay.
Yeah, we just have to share them with teachers.
All right. So lift rosters are done. When are they going to be shared with teachers?
They can either be shared in their O3s with us. I don't want to just keep adding stuff in their
not
O3s. That's like you're not gonna have time to do anything else. I would say that they need to be shared like either in content team meetings, which
do they have school-based content team meetings?
Yeah, it's not it's like it happens usually. Justin will arrange like either after like Friday PD or sometimes they do Mondays, but they've been trying to allow times for teachers to actually like have planning time because they don't have planning time.
Yeah.
Hi, Aldo is going home.
The only thing that's popping out is next Friday doing PD, like sharing them with them after like we go through like the next like campus PD of like I think it's Think Right Share. It's
Think or share?
It's Think Right Share.
Think Right Share. Okay. And I think that could also take the place of what you would normally do is like the 5 dysfunctions work. This could take the place.
Oh yeah.
Right? All right. When is that next campus PD? What's the date? Can you grab that for me?
It is, no, it's not. It's November 1st.
All right. So you can share those lift rosters. And then I think also the plan around how to use them, right? And the expectations for in-class intervention with the lift rosters. And so the second piece from the weekly note that we've tabled for a little bit was like the Know Your Numbers campaign. I wanted to look at, so one way I thought was really cool, especially because they're doing this for report cards too, giving them to families, is the Know Your Numbers campaign, where it really just has like a map for each that says where they are, where they need to be, and then giving parents.
Yeah, we did this during our intervention class at the beginning of the year.
Awesome sauce. So all the kids all the kids and parents have this. This on the back is standard. Basically what it is like a reference document. So it's basically saying 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th map reading, like I am on track for an open enrollment college. My numbers look like at the fall look like this, at the spring they look. So it's giving parents like, okay, if I'm on grade level, right? If at the fall I'm here, spring I'm here, I am on track for a state university, right? So it goes through all of those things, but I think it's really helpful for parents to see how these numbers correlate to college and choice.
Got it.
This second piece here talks about like the map reading. It's the same thing. This last one is talking about reading levels, and it's telling parents like, so for instance, our friend here is an N. This graph, tells mom that your child is reading at a third grade level. Right? This I think is extremely helpful, and which is why I think they're rolling it out during parent conferences and giving it out then if parents come, because it helps to give parents an insight into what's going on with their kid.
I'm just taking a note of something. Go ahead, I'm listening.
Oh, good. And so they have this piece you say already in the intervention.
Yeah.
So every child in
Okay,
6th, 7th, 8th grade, 6th, 7th,
5th, 6th, 7th,
5th, 6th, 7th, 8th has this for both of these. Do they have this?
I'm not sure. I know they have like there was like
Reading
this,
levels.
they had the map, they had the star on it. We can definitely like, it's not a problem.
Yeah. And so this isn't, like I said, this is like more of an exemplar.
Can I have a copy of that?
Of course. You can actually have this.
Okay.
And I have it soft copy.
Yes, can you send it to me?
And basically all of this is getting Gus to like pull it's a mail merge.
Okay.
Yeah. Once you have all the data connected to the Excel spreadsheet, it runs for each kid. But it's just getting someone to pull all of that data. And it seems like this data is somewhere currently right now because you've done this part already. So it may even be, I think the most important part here, if you don't do anything else, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? Being able to see this. So you already have this. I'm not sure if you have the iStation.
Katie pulls that information.
Okay. So I think having this on the placemat, I call this placement. This, and this. And making sure that kids and parents are able to know their numbers and know where they're going. And that specifically for those lift groups, that teachers are really pushing them. And I think next week, do you want to talk about maybe some incentivizing meeting goals, right? Just want to make sure that every child in this building knows where they are and where they need to go. Any questions? And then when do you think you're going to want to, I'm going to put on here as a connect with Gus, right? To complete
Gus and interventionist.
Know your numbers. Placement. Is there something else you'd like to call it?
No, that's fine.
Know your numbers, placement. Gus and interventionists. Great. So this will live in intervention. And currently, is my understanding that all students go to intervention. Okay. All righty. I see you thinking over there. The wheels are turning. Okay. I'll give you a second.
I'm okay.
You good? Okay. I just want to make sure I don't start talking about something else before we've closed that piece. Anything else?
How did you determine like the goal to reach?
I think I would talk to Katie about that. So what
Yeah.
I've learned is that usually it's the next level. It's the next grade level.
Got it.
But follow up with Katie.
Yeah.
That was the question that I had too. Is it, I think it already may be an ice station though. I think it already may be
Oh, okay.
calculated, right?
Yeah.
You could also use this. You could also correlate with
Yeah.
this. I'm also going to ask LMH because this is where I got it from. I can ask her. I'll follow with that too.
Thank you.
I hear you sighing. You good over there?
Mm-hmm. I'm breathing.
Okay. Feels like a lot.
It is a lot, but I'm
Mhm.
okay. It comes with it.
Okay. Is there anything I can do to support or take something off your plate?
I just gotta get it done.
Okay. All right. Well, if you think about anything else, I will do all of my follow up. If you think about anything else, definitely let me know. All right. I want to make sure because we've just talked about a ton. This is the feedback from Daphne. I just wanted to get that to you. And I think one thing I do want to say is like, this was just amazing to hear. And also the things that she's talking about are the things we are already priming and working on together.
Mm-hmm.
So it all feels aligned that we're all seeing the same things. And we know that these things are going to improve because we have those plans in place. How did you feel when you read that?
Oh, I was okay. Like, yep, I appreciated it.
I did too. It was definitely a much needed boost. I was also terrified before she got here. So if I'm being really honest about it. All right. So look at your goal, your next steps. Look at mine. Are there any that we need to add, take off? Let me do that.
Mine would be work on my action step. My actual grow. My action step from grow. The grow process.
We did all of that. We didn't even write it down. All right. I'm going to put it in there right there. Okay. Looking at your list, it feels just right, too much, or not enough.
It's just right.
Why are you laughing at it?
I don't know. I think I'm delirious.
Okay.
So yeah.
I know you've been hopping from one thing to another, but I need you to like make sure that you're, be honest, like, because I just want to make sure that you're able to carry this out and that you have all the support that you need from me and others to make sure that it happens.
I mean, these two are just communicating. That one, it will come next week, and then this one is like for my growth. So it's like, it's fine.
Okay. And then there's some other ones that are, I didn't put them here because they're not larger rocks. Like we already have a plan around getting Melon Tree up to date. Like but those things are already happening. Right. All right. And so any feedback for me?
No.
This whole thing?
No, thank you. I'm walking away with something tangible.
Period. My goal is to support you in achieving your goals and our goals for this school. But like my goals are your goals, your success, mine, and then anything outside of success, I also own too. So
the fact that like you're in it with me, like it says a lot. Like if this was coming from somebody who's never here, like I would have a problem being like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do it, and it wouldn't mean as much. But the fact that like you're here on the ground with me, it means a lot. So.
And I want to make it your charge to whenever I put my goals and what I'm doing there, please read it. Please say like, oh, can you come? Like if you want me to prioritize campus PD, right? I will come, but let me know so that I can plan around it because I just want to be a support, your champion, as well as to push and make sure that you get where you want to go with your school.
Yep. Right? Got it.
Thank you so much.
Oh, I forgot.
Is this still on?
I think so.
Is this thing on? Hell, bitch. I completely forgot about it. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, it's